Hi there, I hope you're having a great day. Today in this video we're going to be creating a main menu with a working play button and a quit button. We also have an options menu button that you'll be able to click to open up an options menu panel. We won't be setting up the options today as I plan to do that in a couple of videos, but I will show you all the different UI elements that you can use to create your options menu. My name is Michael, I make game dev content here on YouTube mainly focused around Unity and Blender. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to support me becoming a full-time indie dev, please do subscribe to the channel. And with that, off to Unity. Okay, we are here in Unity. To get started on our main menu, we are going to right click on our assets window and go create scene. We're going to name this main menu. Double click that to go into it. And now we are in an empty scene with a main camera and a directional light. First thing we're going to need is a canvas. So right click in your hierarchy and go to UI and select canvas down the bottom here. This creates an event system object which allows you to click on buttons, move sliders and check checkboxes without having to set anything up using your mouse. If when you go to UI you don't see that you have Text Mesh Pro, just go to Window, Package Manager and find Text Mesh Pro in your Package Manager and install that. Why? Text Mesh Pro gives you better objects to work with. It gives you better text, better buttons, better drop downs, etc. Another thing you need to know about the canvas is over on the right here, so I'm just going to move myself. Over on the right here, we have a canvas scaler. You want to set this to scale with your screen size. And if you're using a regular HD monitor, set it to 1920 by 1080. Up at the top of the screen here in the game view, you can change what you see to full HD. I think most projects start in free aspect. And if you set up everything in free aspect and then you switch to HD, things might not be in the right position, things might not scale correctly. So it's best just to set this up first. Now the first thing we're going to add is text. So if you right click on your canvas, go down to UI and add a text to Text Mesh Pro. You can't see it right now because it happens to have spawned right in the middle of that white line. So let's just change the color of it. There we go. A couple of things to know up here. This is where you set where the object is anchored to. You can anchor it to the corners, to the center, to the sides, to the top, to the bottom, however you want to anchor it. If you've made websites before, you may understand this intuitively. So if we set the anchor to the top left, you'll notice that the position and the position Y changes. These positions are relative to where you set the anchor. So if we move this down to 0, it will move all the way to the left. We move Y down to 0 or up to 0 because it was a negative. It'll be in the top left. If you hold down the shift key when you select this, it also sets the pivot. And if you hold alt, it will set the position. So I'm going to hold alt and I'm going to anchor this to the top and then move it down a little bit on the Y about there. Going down to the text settings themselves, I'm going to move myself out of the way. We have our input, which is where we put our text. So we can put main menu, game name here. Underneath we have our text style, whether it's a H1, quote, link. I'm just going to keep it on normal. If you have another font asset to use, you can drag it into here and it will take the font. You have your standard stuff here for bold, italic, underline and strike through. You can also force it to be in capitals, force it to be in lowercase or force small caps. Underneath that we have the font size, which we're just going to whack up a little bit, and then we're going to adjust the width of this object so we can get it all onto 2 lines. You can also use the auto size, which when you change the height and width yourself, it will automatically change the font size. Got your color. You can have a gradient if you want. Your alignment. I'm sure you probably recognize all of these symbols down here. And then we have some settings for the material. We don't have to worry about that right now. Let's make the main menu actually do something. So we're going to put in our buttons. We're going to right click on the canvas, UI, button, Text Mesh Pro. I'm going to anchor this to the left side and then bring it out and position it. Make it a bit bigger using the height and width setting. I'm going to rename it to Play BTN. Make it a bit wider, and we open the drop down for Play BTN and it's put a Text Mesh Pro in there, which is our button text here. We're going to change the text of that to play and have it auto size, and to save time we're going to click on our play button and press Control D and then Control D again. Rename play button 1 to options button and rename the play button 2 to exit button. We're then going to position them one below the other and change the text. Exit and options. If you want to stay organized, you can right click your canvas, create an empty, and then just put everything into that game object and rename that game object main menu. For the scripting, it's super easy to get your game to run. You want to go to your file, build settings, and you want to add this scene by pressing add open scene. You then want to go over to your first level, make sure you save your work, and also add that to your scenes in your build settings. Back in the main menu, we're going to right click and we're going to create a new C# script and we're going to call this main menu controller, and we'll open that bad boy up. Okay, in the C# script we don't need either of these. We're going to create a public method and we're going to call it start game, and it is a single line of code, scene manager dot load scene 1. Nice and easy. This means you have to have level 1 be number 1 in your build settings scene order. If you want to go back to the main menu, you would just load scene 0. You also want to have this line up here using Unity Engine.scene management. My IntelliSense automatically put it in there for me. We're also, while we're here, going to create a button to exit the game. So public void exit game. I'm just going to put application.quit. This will only quit the game in an actual build of the game. It won't do anything in the Unity engine. We save that, jump back over to Unity. Now we're going to put main menu controller script onto our main menu object. And then if we go into our play button, over here we have an on-click event. Oh, I'm in the way again. Over here we have an on-click event. Also in the button settings, you have settings for its color when it's normal, its color when it's highlighted, when it's pressed, when it's selected, and when it's disabled. I'm going to set selected color to be a little bit different so we can see me hovering over it, and the pressed color be green. In fact, I'm going to set all these colors just so we can see them. Down in the on-click here, we're going to add, and we're going to drag our main menu object into our object here. Click the drop down, go into the main menu controller script, and find our play game method. Start game rather. Do the same thing for the exit button. Jump over, go into the on click, drag the main menu game object in, and find our exit game method. Now if we run this now, I hit play, myself back over here. When we mouse over the play button, if you are using the new input system, you will have to go over to your event system and just click this replace with input system UI input module. I didn't realize I had to do that. So now if we press play, you can mouse over the play button, and as you can see it changes color. You can then click it and we're put in game. And we're back here. Exit would take us out of the game, and because I only set the colors up on the one button, you can see that only that one has the colors. So you probably want to make a prefab of a master button that has all of its colors and whatnot set up. You can also put an image in here to have a different kind of button if you prefer. Now what about the options button? And there's a lot of other UI elements I haven't spoken about just yet. Under the canvas, not the main menu, we're going to right click, so we're going to create a UI panel. As you can see, it makes the whole screen all a bit milky. We're going to call this panel the options panel. I'm just going to adjust the size of this in the settings, move the left over a bit, move the right over a bit, make it less transparent. It wants to be about even size, so let's do 350, 350, and I'll keep the color. We'll make the color a little bit grey. And in here we're going to look at some of the other UI options. I won't be hooking up the options menu and showing you how to save the options just yet. I'll be doing that in a later video. Right now I just want to go over all the UI elements you can use and show you how to open this panel using the options button. If you've ever made websites, you'll probably be familiar with a lot of these. So first we have toggles. It is a very tiny toggle. With this one you have to adjust the individual pieces. So we have the background, which we can then make a bit bigger, the width and height. We'll set that to 300 so we can see it. Check mark, which you also have to make bigger, so I'll make that 300 as well. We're just going to get rid of the text, I don't need it. So we have a toggle, we have a slider, we have a scroll bar which would allow you to scroll left to right. You put images in with raw image. We have drop downs. Right here we have the different options. You can assign sprites to them. You can hook up your different settings to all of these different things. Probably want to use a slider like this for audio and volume, but like I said, I'll make a video on that later. And we have an input field for if you want to enter in text, or maybe you want to have the player enter in their username or something like that. These aren't going to be staying, but I'll keep them here for the sake of it at the moment. What we're going to do now is put in another button, anchor that to the bottom, position it up a little bit and make it a bit bigger. We're just going to make this a close button. Okay, back over to our main menu controller. We want to get a reference to our options panel, so we want to make a serialized field. We're just going to make it a type game object, and we're going to call it options panel. We're going to add one more public method, open options menu, and in that code we're just going to write options panel dot set active false. No, dot set active true. In fact, we could save on some lines of code here and just have this one button to open and close it. To do that, we'll just do options panel dot set active, and then inside of our parentheses, the opposite of whatever options panel dot active self. And the exclamation mark makes it so it's the opposite of that. So if it's true, this will be false. If it's false, this will be true. Over on our button, our exit button, our close button rather, add an on click event and add the main menu to it. Go main menu controller and set that as open options menu. I should have changed the name of that to open close options menu, but hey ho, I can do that later. We're then going to hide the options panel, go to our options button, add an event, drag in the main menu and find open options menu. Hit play and make sure everything's working. So we're here on our main menu, press options, no reference because I didn't set it up. Back over here on the main menu object, we need to set our reference to the options panel. Over here, options panel, we just drag in the options panel to the options panel. Now we hit play. Now if we click the options button, our options panel with our many different things appear. Set our options to option C. We'll have this about, 3/4 of the way. And tick box yes, definitely. And then we just hit close and we're back here. In a later video, I'll show you how to set up your options and save them. So subscribe for that. So you now know how to set up all your buttons, you know how to put code onto them, you know how to start your game, and you know how to open up a panel for your options menu or whatever other menu. You may also want to make a menu for instructions or a how-to to how to play your game. I do believe my games from my game jam did have an instructions menu, but this is pretty much the same thing I do every time when I've made a main menu. So what about this background? This is just a scene. So if we go to our scene view and find our camera, this is our main menu here, but if we find our camera, whatever this is looking at is what we're seeing here. So if we jump over to our models, we can stick in some of the models to make it look a bit more appealing, rotate them, position them. Maybe you don't want to have this background, so you want to go over to your camera, click on skybox, and you can set it to solid color, and then you just position your models, whatever you want to do. Maybe you've drawn a picture that you can then insert into here and have that as a background. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to get controls to work, so you're not limited to these clicking on the buttons like this. I've already set this up in my game, so I'll quickly show you. I have the controller working for controlling the player character here. If I die by crashing into something, I then can control the UI, and I'll be showing you how to do that in my next video. And in the video after that, I will be setting up the options menu. Hope this has been helpful to you. This is the same thing I've done every time I've made a main menu. So what I would recommend you do is that you create a project where you can just have a main menu ready to go that you can then just drop in and then edit that one, because this is reusable. You can use this in any of your games. And to quickly show you that the exit button is actually working, we're going to go to File and we're going to build the game. So build and run. Give it a minute to do that. Game opens up and we've got our menus working. Hit play. We'll fly the plane around, crash, return to menu, exit. Nice. Cool. Well, that's the video. I hope you made a main menu. I'm going to be spending some time making my main menu look a bit more nicer. If you enjoyed this video, then please do subscribe, leave a like if you're so willing, and I'll catch you in the next video where we program the controller to work. Hope you have a great day, and toodaloo.